right, so we're back here in the building, of course. Another episode in 2022 of the Fresh Life podcast. And we're actually shooting this during the day, so it looks a little bit different than, shooting it at night. But welcome back.
Then Fresh Life After Dark.
Yeah, no.
It looks different.
It does look.
We're in the daylight.
It looks different, but it's all good. I mean, the same two people are here, and of course, we are here to discuss relevant topics that are holistically building and that are good for the soul. So, yeah.
Okay, so we were going to talk about. We have a podcast list of topics. We have a list of podcast topics. I said that wrong, and we were going to use one of those topics, but honestly, something is going on with Chris, and I said, why don't we just talk about it on air and work through it as a couple, and so you guys can get a little peek about how we process things, and we're going to just we're going to just wing it. So Chris has, to me, in my opinion, Chris has been a little off in the past hour, maybe 45 minutes to an hour, just not himself. And it seems to me that he has an attitude. That's how I would have said it. Like something is wrong with him. He's not his normal self. And it comes off as him being a little irritable and short. So that's why I would say he has an attitude. So we're going to just talk about it live on this podcast and just work through it as a couple and just give you some insights on how we do this. So I would say to you, baby, what's wrong?
No, I was just wondering, how was you planning on getting? I mean, what's wrong? I mean, I don't think that anything's necessarily wrong is such a weird way of saying how does a person feel.
Okay, that's good.
I think that what happens for me is there's a level of my feelings that feel very interrupted, and it doesn't seem as if around the space that I am in, whether it is my children or you, that my time or mental energy is thought of and appreciated. Mm-hmm. Whether it is something I have to say, something that I am thinking, something that I'm working on, some time and space that I need, it just seems as if it is constantly interrupted, or it is not as important than what other people are doing or want me to do in the moment. Now, that is a part of my problem, because if I am not enforcing boundaries for you all, then it's going to continue to happen. So, what ends up taking place is me being more irritable only because what I want to say to people, I don't say, because I am dad. I am husband. I can't just go off and just tear people apart because of how they make me feel. That's irresponsible. So I keep it to myself. And it just seems as if you all just go on about your merry day and keep doing whatever you're doing. And it just repeats itself all over again. And it just happens all the time. And I'm using all the time purposefully because it literally is all the time. And I don't know how to stop that behavior outside of just becoming the meanest person I possibly could become. And that would only be for a short period of time, because I think that's what is needed to create that boundary, to create that level of distance. So yeah, it just, it's just constant, man. It just wears me down.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You still want to talk about this?
No, yeah, I do, because I think this aids to a lot of your anxiety and anxiousness. Is that true or no?
No, it does. Mm-hmm. Because when you have something that you want to get done and you can't do it, or you can't get to it because of whatever reasons, then it continues to just be a thing. Like, I want to go and work on this. I want to go and create. I want to complete that. And when you're constantly interrupted, and then when you finally got some time, it's when it's time to go to bed. And like, yeah, that's okay. Except I also get up just as early as everybody else. But I try my best to extend my hours into the night so that I can get a sense of my own time. So now of course, that falls into the next day where I wake up just even more tired. Mm-hmm. And it just continues to unravel. And, I'm not a person that's just going to go to bed early. Mm-hmm. Like, it's very rare you're going to catch me going to bed before everybody and be like, all right, I'm going to bed. Like, and I'm going to sleep. Like, and everybody's still like, I'm not going to do that. Now, Jasmine might do that, where she'll put her bonnet on, and, when you got the big bonnet on, you can float all the way to bed, and
it's just so ignorant.
And you can float your way all the way to the bed from the bathroom because the bonnet is so large that you can.
First of all, I'm only wearing a big bonnet because I have all these braids right now.
You call it what you want.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe you hate on a big bonnet like this.
So in that, when a person's feeling anxiety, it stifles their creativity. It stifles their kindness. It stifles their breathing. It elevates their heart rate because of the breathing part of it. It causes sleep issues. It causes memory issues. It continues to just permeate at a deeper and deeper level than ever before if it goes unchecked.
Okay. First of all, I hate that you are going through this and that this is your daily experience. I can only imagine how on top of everything. What? Why are you doing that?
I'm listening.
But it seems like you're just like writing off everything I'm saying.
I'm dead listening.
Okay. I'm sorry that you're going through this on a daily. I'm sorry that this is your experience and your reality, that you feel like everything's on top of you. And what I hear you saying is you have no time to think. You have no time to breathe. You have no time to do the things that Chris needs to do to take care of him. And the things that you just want to accomplish personally. It's always like a family agenda or everybody else. And everybody else is coming first. And then by the time you even kind of create some space for you, it's late at night when you're really tired.
Correct. And that is, and it in today's society is like, well, the man you're trying to be the, you got to go get it and you do whatever you got. Okay, that's cool until he loses it. Mm-hmm. Or until he has a heart attack, or until he burns out and he has no ideas, or until he doesn't want to, have a family, or until he, takes a gun and shoots. It's like, what I'm saying is that these are the realities though of unchecked stress, of people who, who put the mask on and masquerade around as if nothing's wrong, because society has taught men over time, and that may be improving, that you have bigger shoulders and you need to carry it. I just think that's unhealthy.
No, absolutely.
And people listening to this know it's unhealthy. Here's the crazy part. People can know it's unhealthy, but still their personal behavior towards people doesn't change. You could know that it's unhealthy for your mate or friend or daughter, son, whoever, to deal with what they're dealing with, and then have an expectation that they should deal with it. Mm-hmm. It's just like...
It's like a core belief, though,
problematic
for a lot of people. It's ingrained in how you were raised and how you view masculinity or feminism. Like, it is just something that's ingrained in you. And so even though it's unhealthy, it's hard to switch that off. Just like you could think it's unhealthy to look at a woman walking by and look at her butt and like, make her into a sexual object. Like, yeah, I know that's wrong, but innately I could still do that. It's just something that's ingrained in us that we all have to work. I think it's the same thing as when someone is fighting, like if they grew up in a racist home, but they know that's not correct, they still probably have those internal battles. So I think it's the same thing with masculinity, how I was raised or how one might be raised to view masculinity. It still, can come out in a way that's toxic. Like, oh yeah, I shouldn't think like that. That's wrong.
It comes out toxic because the thought is toxic.
Exactly.
Right. It doesn't come out toxic because you're toxic. It comes out because if you eat spoiled food, what comes out of you is spoiled. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not that.
No. I'm saying this is when I say a core belief, I'm saying this is something, an ideology that is formed in childhood. Like, it is how you are brought up to think about men or to think about masculinity. Yourself included.
Right, but I'm saying that the idea of that is toxic.
Yes.
Right.
Just like the idea of you looking at somebody's butt and idolize, not you, but men looking at a woman and, objectifying her is incorrect too.
Men look at bodies, and that is more innately a part of our predisposition than it is for you to think that a man should grind himself away.
No, I don't think so. I think that's innately how women view being protected and taken care of.
I think protected is completely different than it is to grind yourself away for the sake of others.
Right. No.
I think those are two completely different things.
I do think the grind yourself away for the sake of others is unhealthy. I do also understand how a man protecting his family is also a man who provides. Protection and providing is the same thing.
But he can't provide in every area, right? He can't try to make money and also try to be the chief disciplinarian and also it's like
emotionally available.
And here's the thing. It is not that it's impossible to hit all those areas, but my nature is to try to be in all those areas at a high capacity. This is where my boundaries come into place, and that I need to do a better job of having those boundaries. My kids don't care whether or not I have boundaries. They don't care at all. Like, they don't. Like, they just, if I'm here and my face is, they like your boss. If you in the building, we think you're here to work. If you got the jersey on, your knee must not be that injured. All right, get in the game. If you show up, then you're here.
Right.
That's how my kids are. But you need someone else to say, yeah, I see that he's here, but y'all, he ain't playing today. Mm-hmm. That becomes you. Mm-hmm. But because you also identify as someone who wants to get things done as well, you don't take slack on me for wanting the same things done.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think this is very interesting because as a woman, we have conversations all the time as women.
Men don't.
All the time about balance and how are we wearing all these hats and how are we doing it all and making sure we're taking care of ourselves and self-care. Like, these are at the top of our conversations as women. And I realize that the things that you're saying are a lot of the same things that I have said over the years, but I have a tribe and a community and other women who I talk to about these things, about taking care of myself,
oh my goodness,
not being overwhelmed with the kids, not letting them. Go ahead. You
just said something.
Yeah.
Yes, you have a tribe. First off, this is an amazing thing, right? Mm-hmm. You have a tribe. Men have a tribe too. And it's always online. We always have a tribe. But guess what we talk about?
Sports.
Thank you. Like, we have a tribe.
Yeah.
We actually talk to each other. We just don't talk about nothing. Like, when I'm online, I'm on Twitter, I can scroll and I can see women dialoguing about something that hurt their feelings or something that they disagreed with that was, harmful towards their feminism or harmful towards, something with the idea of family, or why does she act like that towards her kids as some celebrity? Men tend to operate in smaller pockets. And it's not even, people will say, oh, it's just money. No, I don't even think men talk about that as much. I think men stay away from topics that make themselves vulnerable, and it creates silos, so no man knows where the community is.
You got your mission in life should be to break this.
I thought about that.
It should.
That's why I raised my hands in Oprah style.
No, you did. You definitely did. Chris, your mission in life should really be to build a real community where men can talk about real things. And you see that, like, there's starting to be more of that, like barbershop talk. But
there's women on that show.
It has to come deeper.
And women, we love y'all. I'm not saying nothing's wrong.
Sure,
I'm not saying nothing's wrong with women, but men need a space.
Yes, a consistent space,
a healthy space. And what happens is,
what about man space instead of manscape? No, okay, we can come up.
We already got a woman coming up with our own ideas.
Okay, first of all, you birthed a lot of ideas that I do that are dope. Let's overcome her. You name that.
Okay. Yes, Jasmine's 100% right. So I want to continue. I want to listen to you.
Okay, so all I'm saying is, I hear what you're saying, and I have been here a million trillion times as far as the need to have a boundary, feeling overwhelmed, and that is how a lot of things that you see even today. I had a house cleaner come because that is something that I had to outsource in order to keep my mental right. We have the kids in daycare. Sometimes I even pick up an extra day if I need to. The things that I know as a wife and as a mom overwhelm me sometimes, I outsource it. I also have community of women who let me know, like, it's okay. Like, if I go right now and make a post about being a mom and all the hats I had to wear and how I have mom guilt because I didn't play with the kids today, or I will have a tribe of women that come right behind me and say, it's okay, Ma, we see you. You're doing a good job. It's okay that you didn't get it all done today. You're all right. Like, I will have that support. Like, they expect me at this point to take a hat off. Take care of yourself. You doing too much. And that is so needed. And I'm sorry that you don't have that. I don't even know how I would process through the world without having that. Like, I could call my mom right now and she would tell me you're doing a good job and to get rest. And, she would just affirm me in whatever I am going through. What do you need to do to take care of you? Okay, you do your brain drain. Like my mother told me the other day, okay, you do your brain drain, get everything out, prioritize what you have to get done, and then go take a nap. Like, that was our conversation. And I was like, yes, that's exactly what I need to do. So, I'm sorry that that you don't have those type of conversations in that tribe. I do know that I play that role a lot in your life. Like, I'm like, y'all, leave him alone. Like, daddy needs to focus, right? Like, because I know your struggles, but at the same time.
But there's reasons for this. Like, reasons, of course, why women have an unhealthy outlook sometimes about how men should operate. Vis-a-vis, the whole Will Smith incident, and why women see masculinity why women see masculinity in a more toxic form, which is so crazy to me, is that the toxic form doesn't benefit them unless they're on viewing it. Mm-hmm. If it's in their house, it is a repellent. Like, they don't want that attitude in their house. Like, if Will was in the house smacking fools because his feelings were hurt, it would be he couldn't survive in his house. Mm-hmm. But it is acceptable to some when it is on to others, because it is a way for us to use men as our war hero to the world from the hurt that we have. So we, as you know, and that's because our father wasn't there to defend us, though. Right? So that's typically where it comes from, that your father was there to defend you. So you typically
I never thought about it like that,
Yeah.
that we only want to see men in that toxic behavior outside the home.
Oh, yeah. You don't mind it then. But if it affects you, then it's a problem. And I think, and men can be the same way, right? Like we like a lot of the ratchetness that, you know, sometimes we can see on Twitter or you know, on these salacious sites. If you see a woman that's a little more ratchet, or, you know, she's a little more salacious or seductive, like you like the look or the idea and the concept of it. But if it's your wife, then suddenly it's not as appealing for her to kind of have that same vibe around your, even if you had the salacious girl who was a little more maybe sexually open and outgoing. If that was your girl, suddenly you would be more closed off to the idea of her sharing that aspect of her. It's just when it's yours, it's different because it hits home different. What I was going to say was, men in general, just we struggle with the idea of community because our fathers did not show us what community looks like. And so they came home, and if they were with their boys, then it wasn't celebrated by maybe their mom or grandma, you know. And I know many men who didn't have a huge circle of friends, like that were older, that were my father figures around the neighborhood. They didn't have a ton of friends. They came home and took the clothes off and sat in the chair and watched TV. Like that was what they did. And so you grew up thinking that's the way you do things.
So, so just to wrap all this up, what I viewed happen earlier today was you came home, you were in a pretty good mood, like decent mood completely. Then Caleb was in here. He's on spring break. He's in here talking to you, being silly. He did a little scavenger hunt with you. You were actually laying down, resting, and he got you to get up and do a scavenger hunt.
Yeah, but that was fine.
That was fine. Anyway, you came downstairs. You did a scavenger hunt. You were still in a good mood. You sat down. You said, I'm going to set up for a podcast. And I said, okay. You start setting up for a podcast. Caleb is talking to you a little bit, being silly too, being goofy. I'm sitting at my desk. I turn around and I ask you, did you take care of all the bills? And I say, it's okay if you haven't, because I know that this is like a touchy thing. If you forgot, if you felt like you forgot, then, you know, that was going to make you feel a certain kind of way. So I quickly say, it's okay if you haven't, just let me know so that I can get it done. And that's where the boundary wasn't there for you. You felt immediately like you had to stop what you were doing right now and figure it out, instead of saying, which I tried to tell you earlier, but you kind of got mad at me for even saying this. But I was trying to tell you, I wish you just said to me, okay, let me finish setting up for this podcast and I will look into that in 30 minutes or whatever, to set that boundary. But instead, you dived into that right then and there. Then you got frustrated about, like, where are the passwords, you know, sign into this account, sign into that account, trying to make sure that you pay everything. And then you told me that you got irritated because this is an area that I used to criticize you in. And because I used to criticize you in this area, you just wanted to show me that it was done, or?
So it's a mixture, right? So one is you got Caleb, who has very little boundaries, whether he's interrupting someone, whether he's just doing his own thing.
And he thinks everything has to be right now.
That's our problem, right? And that's something you just parent through. But when I'm doing something, oftentimes I feel like you leave me on an island because at least it's not bothering you. And so, and again, that may be fair. I'm just more of a vocal parent. And so I can see someone being bothered and I'm going to say something. Like, I am going to say, hey, go in the other room or leave her alone. Like, she's doing, I'm going to say something. You'll just rock it out and just let it fester. Like, And so now I'm frustrated with not only him, but also you for leaving me to be the bad guy. Because I don't want to be a soft tone all the time when it comes to telling kids what to do. Like,
soft tone, you mean like a hard tone?
No, like I don't want to be like, like son, like, not right now, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, like sometimes like I'm irritated, like, stop. Like, so then for you to have ignored him and then also then to double down and now you want me to do something else that is not at all what I was doing, which is kind of like, this is just the norm. What I'm doing is not as important than what everyone else is doing. And I mean, I could count countless times where something that I wanted to do, was not as important, and so I typically give in, and that's my fault. And that's something that I have to work on when it comes to the boundaries that I have and my own assertiveness. So, but yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I didn't know you are right. You are very vocal. Like if the kids were irritating me or whatever, stop, leave mommy alone. And
but it makes me tired of hearing my own voice because now I'm the only bad guy. I'm the only one, it feels like, doing the majority of the stop, don't do that, where y'all going, who's doing that, what happened to you. I feel like I'm the only one doing that. And it's exhausting.
Well, I also this can go in several directions just because we live together and we're having a full-blown conversation live.
Well, this is talk therapy.
Well, I was just going to say though, but it can go in several directions because then I was going to say, I kind of think you enjoy being that person.
I don't.
Well, there's so many times that like when it's smoke, you come to the smoke.
But I'm just good at it.
But it don't matter. Like, you don't have to be, so what that you're good at it, you don't always have to come to the smoke. Like, just yesterday, I told you, JoJo just got a spanking. I gave him the spanking.
Oh, I went to go talk to him. He didn't get in trouble by me.
I know, but that's more of your effort because you kind of like...
First off, I'm JoJo's superhero.
Indeed, you are.
Okay, I'm Jackson's, my middle child, superhero. And yes, I go in and I wanted to know, was he mistreated?
Is that what it came down to?
Yeah, like first when I was coming in the door, I said, "What did you do?" Blah blah blah. And then I closed the door. I said, "You okay?" I was just playing. No, no. But in all seriousness, I.
And by the way, he didn't get a spanking because he got popped. He got one good whack.
I just like my kids to know, like, that if they thought that something was not serious, that my arrival makes it official.
And they do think that. Because,
but that's not fair to your voice if I want you to use it.
Exactly. But also, they do feel like that because when they are really acting up, I can say to them, don't let me call your father. And they get it in line. Like, I don't know if you ever tried to use that line when they was getting on your nerves. Like, don't make me call your mom. You should try it one day just to see what happens. But you are the top authoritarian, which is a good thing. Okay. Yeah. However.
So what should I do instead?
No, first of all, we're just different. So like I always tell you before, sometimes even though I've been married to you for almost 12 years, it's still sometimes hard for me to tell when you're irritated because you always kind of like have a smile on your face. So like Caleb in here playing around with you, it's hard for me to tell that you're irritated because you are joking back with him, telling him to go get stuff. Like, I don't feel yet that you are smothered, right? And normally you don't even feel that you are smothered until it has been topped on you. Like,
yeah, but that's my trauma. That's my wounds. That's my, that's my willingness to make others comfortable in the face of discomfort.
So you understand that that's not something I can necessarily fix or see.
The thing is, I'm not...
you did. Yeah. You said that, Jasmine, you didn't come rescue me. I was irritated that you didn't say anything. I'm always vocal.
So, yeah, I mean, in that moment, right? I mean, yeah, your spouse is not a mind reader. I mean, that's fair. But what I'm going to say is just that by nature, I can be that way. Where I'm not looking to cause others to be bothered, inconvenienced, just because of how I grew up. So other people had other stuff going on that was more important to me or more devastating, or, you know, they were already frustrated and bothered. So I try my best to just tuck it away, and I live my life like that. And so many of you also live your life like that. And it's a pattern. It's a thought pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you put yourself in the rear, and for a while I was trying my best to take up space. Mm-hmm. And now I'm back to the same old behavior.
Yeah, no, but that's real, right? Because it's a pattern. It's like a habit, like anything else. It takes time to cultivate that habit. And you were doing a really good job of taking up space. And it was something that was important to me that you took up space, because just for your mental health, that is vital. So, to recap about what happened, you're just was frustrated because I'm pulling on you, Caleb pulling on you. You want to do something. You want to get something accomplished. We have to record a podcast before we pick up the kids. Time is on your back. I get it. I understand what you were going through in that moment.
Plus, I already lost today, right? Like, so the kids are home on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays with our 1 and 5-year-olds. So those days are important. So for those of you who have these children in school, you know that the value of the ones that need you the most being in school is valuable. So I had to take them to school, and I had a doctor's appointment, and then they both, when you're living down here, it takes a long time to get back and forth between each place. Plus picking up lunch, eating lunch. By the time I was doing all that, it was 1:30, 2 o'clock.
Yep.
So like your day is already gone. So like right now it's 4:15 p.m. on this day that we're recording, and I leave out the door in the next 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. So
to go pick up the kids.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, the kids are here. Okay. So this is a very good conversation. The need to take up space, the need to think, the need to set boundaries for ourselves and within our relationship. So we have work to do in this area, and we will continue to work it out for you to take up the space that you need in order to take care of yourself.
Yeah, it's important.
I say, I love you.
Love you too. That's important. I'm fine.
No, I know you are.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I really know that you're fine. You always bounce back. Yeah. I mean, it literally only takes you like 30 minutes to bounce back, which I love about you.
But that is also the same thing.
That's why you don't take up space. No.
That's why I don't take up space.
Okay. What is something else that you needed to do today?
I have work to do, schoolwork to do. I have a lot to do.
Okay.
But what I'm going to say is this is a part of what I have to work through. So first off, I have a lot of work to do. I have to pick up these kids. I promised my son I was going to pick them up at a certain time. And as a father, you don't want to break promises because that breaks their heart. So I'm going to say thank y'all for listening.
Yes. Thank y'all for listening.
We promise not to have a talk therapy session.
I love talk therapy. Let us know if you got something from our talk therapy session. That would be important to us.
Also,
if you like this raw footage.
Also, lastly, men, if you are like me and you struggle with finding community, and the only thing you talk about online is sports, the next hit song that came out, or something you've seen on Instagram with some baddie with your friends, then you are not discovering all the other conversations that are important to your life. You have spiritual conversations to talk about. You have financial conversations to talk about. You have mental health conversations to talk about. Things in your fatherhood and in your parenting skills. There's so many other sides of the game that you have to talk about. So do y'all think that we should build a community around that? And if you do, please let me know in my direct messages, also known colloquially as the DMs, and let me know. And so that may be something that we should, of course, put together and see if there's a bigger community and conversation that needs to take place. But thank you for listening and watching the First Light Podcast.
Yes. Thank y'all.